So it's about certain keywords in the dispute letter because it's the entire process is all automated. The dispute process, or rather the investigation process, is automated. So there are certain keywords you need to put in the dispute letter that the OCR will pick up those certain keywords and deliver a result that would be in your favor, which is typically a deletion or a late payment removal. But it's all about the keywords. Like there's certain things you want to put in the letter and certain things you don't want to put in the letter. The there's some theory around the letter being organic or not. Like write it in crayon, write it in a marker, put it in a coffee stain, what have you, so it looks authentic. So when an individual will read it, you don't really want an individual reading it. I mean, there's some pros and cons to both, but if you know how to game the system, if you know how to, what keywords the credit bureaus or their EOSCR, system that they use that looks at the scans in the letter, converts the letter to like a 3-digit code, and then inputs the dispute and then forwards to the data furnisher in those cases. If you understand what they're looking for and what they're not looking for, then you're going to have a much better success at getting items removed off your credit report because you can manipulate and that's kind of a bad word, but you can set it up to where you're making the job almost super easy for the bureau. Like if you don't list what the outcome is that you want on the item, then you may not get the result you're looking for. You may say, I want this account deleted, but if it's not listed, or let's say you want the item removed, but then it's not listed on there, then you may get a simple investigation done where Equifax will convert that dispute into like a 3-digit code, forward it over to Midland Funding, for example, and the investigation code is this account is not the consumer's, or this account is not accurate, please verify. And then the person on the other end, which would be Midland Funding, for example, in that case, they're going to just have their person or team or whoever, typically someone, low level kind of income earner, do their thing, do their investigation on their internal records. Say, yeah, this account matches so and so. This account, this data matches so and so. This account is accurate, and then that's the end of the investigation. And maybe you didn't really want an investigation. You had enough evidence, enough proof that the account was inaccurate, and you needed to state that. Also state what you wanted done. You wanted the account, deleted. You wanted, to also be maybe relieved of the debt obligation because the debt's not yours, or whatever the case, would be. You need to list like, what do you want the outcome to be? What is the reason for the dispute? And oftentimes when people are disputing, take online, for example, they leave a lot of that info out. So you'll get a lot of low-hanging fruit removed, which are just going to be from collection agencies that flat out don't respond to disputes. So that's an automatic win. Nothing wrong with that. That's definitely a good thing. That's there's low-hanging fruit out there. But for the complex items, Portfolio, Midland, LV, AD Astra, some of the bigger companies, some of the bigger collection agencies in this space, they're not going to let it go without a fight. So you need to have all your ducks in a row. You need to have all your research done in advance. You need to know how to structure a dispute letter in a way that gets picked up in your favor by the credit bureaus through their automation process, and you get your end result that you want, which is a deletion. So there's a lot of method to the madness. When some people say, credit card companies just send letters out, that's all they do. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes to kind of game the system, to kind of structure every dispute letter in a way that gets identified gets identified by the bureaus in the favor of the consumer, which is deletions. And so it's a very complex process. There's no two similar credit reports that are out there. Every report is different. Therefore, there's a lot of different factual errors that exist on reports, and that's why we are proponents of factual disputing because of that reason. that there's individual components of the item, how it's reported, that could be inaccurate, like an account number, the account date, the high balance, the payment history, the timeline, the accounts, the comments section, the original creditor, the charge-off amount, stuff like that, past due balance. There's always some kind of there's all these individual components that we're looking at, and these components also have to be Metro 2 compliant, which means that the information that is transmitted to the Bureau by the data first in the first place has to be up to Metro 2 standards. And again, this is a standard that the credit bureaus put upon themselves. So by understanding all that goes on behind the scenes in terms of sending, receiving, fetching data between the bureaus and data furnishers, spotting factual errors, and doing factual disputes, knowing that information and knowing how to structure a dispute letter the correct way from the very beginning is going to really allow you to be successful in removing items from your credit report.
If you don't want to handle all that yourself, where should you go? What should you do?
I mean, hire a pro. We're not the only company that's out there. I would consider us to be, one of the professionals in the space that is not just firing off random letters and just crossing fingers and hoping items get deleted. It's more of a strategy. It's more structural. It's more factual disputing that we look for, factual errors that we look for. We're more advanced, I would say. So if you want to hire a professional, it's kind of like doing your taxes. I mean, you can go on TurboTax.com and do a lot of it yourself, but when you have a complex situation, or you have something that you don't want a machine looking at your file and having it automated, you actually need that human touch, those human eyes, a third pair of eyes looking at the credit file from the lens of a hey, what is wrong with this report? Where could the errors lie? Like someone who's like specifically trained to look at that, kind of like a detective, right? A detective is trained to look at a crime scene and look for clues, look for discrepancies that could lead to a lead or lead to a suspect. That's kind of how we treat our dispute process, is looking for clues, looking for issues that could build up a dispute case that would build up in a form that would be strong enough for a deletion within the first attempt. So get with us if you'd like, the credit agents, and we're more than happy to take a closer look at the credit file and see what's wrong with it, point out the errors, and formulate a game plan to put the odds back in your favor, in your side, because your information is being sold left or right with or without your consent. And if it's wrong information and bad information, or miskeyed information that is just being shared left and right between the data furnishers and the bureaus, then a lot of your information is being sold in the fashion that it shouldn't be sold, and it's incomplete and inaccurate, and that leaves you subject to higher interest rates, higher fees, bad types of loans, bad types of credit card offers, things like that. So you owe it to yourself to ensure your credit report is 100% compliant, 100% accurate, 100% verifiable. Things are reported in a timely fashion. So you have the best demonstration of the true credit character you are. And there's no way, shape, or form we're saying, hey, you don't owe the debt. The debt is no longer existed. These are laws that are put in place to protect the consumer from having bad information reported, or inaccurate information reported, incomplete information reported. So we're just tapping into these consumer protection laws and putting the consumer in a winning position. Hey, thanks for watching this. Hope you guys have a great day.